Welcome. My name is Chef Andrew, and today we're going to have fun in the kitchen. Want to talk to you about what we're going to be doing today. We're making a couple of nice little dishes. We're going to do a grilled vegetable paella, and then to go a little bit more, I'm not going to say fattening, or a little bit more excessive, we're going to do some stuffed cheesesteak biscuits. They're going to be delicious. I want to set some ground rules as we're going. Cooking is totally personal. So the recipes that you have received and what I'm going to be doing for you today, we're not baking. So you don't have to follow exactly to the T. What we're doing is cooking. And with cooking, you want to make everything that you want to enjoy. So the whole idea of what we're going to do, what you want to do is make sure that you enjoy it. We're going to make a grilled vegetable paella. So if you don't like eggplant, don't put it in. If you don't like asparagus, don't put it in. If you like artichokes, put them in. That's what you want to do. And we'll go more and more over this as we're going through the next few minutes or the next half hour. And what we want to do is make you get the idea, the technique of what I'm doing basically, and then you can change or you can follow along exactly what I have. But we want to make it that you're going to enjoy it. All right? So we're going to start with the grilled vegetable paella. So what I have is I have a whole bunch of different vegetables which we have sliced. And again, it's everything that you want or what you want to enjoy. Or if you're trying to impress somebody, what they enjoy. And so what we're going to do is, we got a grill going right back here. You can, if you want to, obviously grill outside. You can also pan sear if you want to. But we got a grill going back here. We're going to take a little bit of olive oil. Now, we're utilizing a olive oil, a canola blend mix. We don't want to use straight extra virgin olive oil when we're grilling, because olive oil has a very low smoking point, and we don't want to burn our vegetables. So we're going to go ahead and brush our vegetables with a little bit of oil. And you don't want to soak them, you just want to coat them, lightly coat them. We're giving them a little bit of flavor there. Okay? And now, we're going to take a little bit of salt and pepper. And we're going to coat our vegetables. And then, let's get some pepper on there also. So what we do is we grind our own pepper. We grind our peppercorns. It makes it a little bit stronger. It's a little, obviously fresher. We do them as we need it. And what we basically do is just take a coffee grinder. And we buy whole black peppercorns and we grind them. But it makes so much fresher than the pepper that you'll buy in the store. It's delicious. We're going to take a little bit of cumin. Sprinkle it this way. A little cumin. And again, if what you're putting in here is what you want to enjoy. All right, we have some beautiful vegetables. Oop, and we have some fresh oregano. All right, I'm gonna put that on. All right. Now, guess what? We got to do the same thing on the other side. Because we want both sides to have flavor. And everything that you do when you are cooking, you make sure that you season both sides, everything. If you're doing a steak, if you're doing a burger, chicken, fish, you want to make sure that everything has flavor. We're going to talk a lot about flavor today. And you'll see why. You know, especially now while you're home, possibly, unfortunately, you want to get tired of the same thing. You want to make things different. This is going to be the time to try different stuff. All right, we're adding the salt here. And we're adding our pepper again. We use kosher salt. I use a fine kosher salt. People always ask, oh, what kind of salt do you use? I think there's a lot of flavor in the kosher salt. You don't have to worry about anything. It brings out a lot of flavor. Salt perks stuff up. Salt, citrus, they perk flavors up, and that's what you want to do. All right, look at that. And we'll finish with the oregano. All right, look at that. Beautiful, huh? You can eat that. You can eat that just like it as is. All right, come on over. Let's grill our mushrooms. We're gonna talk about mushrooms later, on cleaning mushrooms. But come on over, let's go grill. All right, so we put down some of our vegetables to start grilling. We're gonna make some nice grill marks. See that? So why am I turning it 90 degrees? I'm turning it so we get the nice diamond marks. You know, when you go into a steak restaurant and you see the nice marks on the steak, well, that's what we're looking to do. And we want to do that with the vegetables. We want to make sure that our product has, you know, people eat with their eyes first. We want to make sure that it looks appetizing. Look at that, and see the beautiful marks? Okay, we want the looks appetizing. They look first, then they'll smell, then they'll taste. Taste really is the last part of when people eat. And what we want to do is entice them with good-looking food. All right. All right, so we have our vegetables already nice and grilled. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start the rice portion, the paella portion of our dish. So we got a nice paella pan on the fire, and what we want to do is get the pan hot. So anytime that we're sauteing, we want to make sure that our pan is hot, and then we get our oil hot. We don't want to take all our ingredients, throw them into a cold pan, and then turn the fire on. We want to be able to get the pan hot, so when we put the onions and the garlic in, we're going to caramelize everything. If we just put it into a cold pan, all we're going to do is start boiling things, and we don't want to do that. So we're getting our pan hot, and we're going to take a little bit of oil. Again, we're utilizing a canola extra virgin olive oil mix. We make our own, but the whole idea is that we don't want to, again, the smoking point. Extra virgin olive oil is good for finishing dishes, finishing sauces. We don't want to saute with it. So we're now going to put the oil in our pan, and what's going to happen is our oil is going to shimmy. It's going to dance. That's when we know that the pan is hot enough. So we put it in, and it's dancing around, it's shimmying. And also we're starting to smoke a little bit. We're gonna move it around there. See how it's moving there? And now we got a little bit of smoke. So now what we're gonna do is add our onions. We're gonna saute our onions and our garlic. Now whenever you're cooking with garlic, you wanna make sure that garlic is not the first thing that goes in, because garlic burns very quickly. But what we can do is put the garlic in with our onions, because our onions have moisture. Sorry, our onion has moisture, so it's not going to let the garlic burn. If obviously if you let it sit for a while, it's going to burn, but it will saute with it nicely. I wish this was smell-o-vision. You'd smell the onions. They smell delicious. We're going to throw a little bit of salt and pepper in with it. And we're going to let them caramelize for a minute. All right. I want to get a little bit of color. Now we're at about a medium heat right now. And you can do this in a saute pan. It does not need to be in a paella dish, but you can do it in a nice saute pan or a little bit of a larger pot, depending on how many people you're doing it for also. Once the onions start getting a little bit of color, we're going to add our tomato. And we're going to add our rice. And we want to toast our rice a little bit. Just a little. One thing you don't want to do all the time is stir. You don't want to just keep on stirring. You want to let things cook. You want to get a little bit of color. Let everything meld. And then you can smell the rice cooking. And what we're going to do now is add our stock and our saffron water. So what we did is we took some saffron and put it in some boiling water and let the saffron seep. And you saw that yellow that goes in there. And our paprika. All right, nice. And what we're going to do now is cover this and let it cook for about 10 minutes. All right, so now we're going to take our paella dish. Everything's nice and mixed up together here. All right, and we're going to add our vegetables in. And it's up to you. If you want to leave them whole, maybe cut them a little bit. So like the eggplant will cut up a little bit. But the yellow squash, we're going to leave as is. Okay, and then we're going to go around with the zucchini. You see, the vegetables are going to give it a little bit more moisture because this is going to still go back on and cook. And we're going to put our peppers in. Okay. And let's throw in some onion. Remember, presentation, presentation, presentation. And let's finish up with some asparagus. And some of this. All right. And oh, I almost forgot our olives. With some beautiful Spanish olives. Why don't we put some of those in? Gives a little bit of saltiness. Delicious. And we're going to cover this back up. And put it back on the fire for another few minutes. And let that cook up. All right, let's go ahead and take our paella off. And we got our beautiful paella dish. It's all ready. All right, and we're gonna finish it up with some lemon wedges. And a little bit of parsley. And there you go. How you like that? Very healthy, very nice. It's delicious, especially with fall coming around now. We can get some great fall vegetables also. A lot of fun. And great for a dinner party. Or you can put something like this out as an appetizer. Little dishes like that, people will love it, I'm telling you. All right? So our grilled vegetable paella, we have plenty to talk about if you want to ask at our Q&A. But next we're going on to some stuffed Philly cheesesteak biscuits. Okay, we're back. Now we are going to do something a little bit different and fun. And this can be used as an hors d'oeuvre or an appetizer, or you can make it for kids for a little party or something, or you can make them for dinner. It'd be a fun dinner. And we're going to do Philly cheesesteak stuffed biscuits, because we're in the South, might as well do some biscuits, right? So we have some beautiful ribeye steaks, and we're going to cut these up because a true Philly cheesesteak is a ribeye. But if you wanted to, you don't necessarily need to make it meat. If you wanted to do chicken, you could do chicken. If you wanted to do just vegetables, you can do all the vegetables that we have, the onions and peppers and mushrooms, and maybe put it with some spinach. So what I've done is I've julienned up some onions, some peppers. I do red and yellow. You can do green if you want, and some cremini mushrooms right here. We're going to get those started first. We're going to start sauteing those. So we talked about before as far as the mushrooms go. I want to show you one thing. Do not wash mushrooms. Do not wash mushrooms. To take the dirt off, take a paper towel, or you can take a pastry brush and wipe them that way. But when you wash mushrooms, you bruise them, and we don't want to do that. So just take them, wipe them off with just a regular paper towel, and get the dirt off. And that's all you need to do. We want to get that, but we don't want to bruise them and wash them. So right now we have a pan going. We're trying to getting it warm or hot, like we said, and we're going to saute our vegetables and get them going first, okay? But while we're doing that, we are going to start slicing our ribeye. So what we're going to do, and the whole idea about ribeye is we want a little bit of fat. We don't want all of the fat, but we do want a little bit of fat. Because ribeye, the flavor of meat is in the fat. So we're going to take that little bit off, but now we're in the main part. And all we're going to do is slice a little bit. I like to slice on the bias. Okay, and we can take this piece of fat off here and just keep on slicing. Nice little strips against the grain of the meat. And when we get to a piece of fat like that, we're going to take it out. No problem. Put it together and slice our meat. All right, beautiful. So now what are we going to do? Oh yes, we're going to season our meat. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. We're going to mix that around. And we're going to a little more pepper. All right. And we get our meat ready. Now, whenever we're sauteing, we want to make sure that we don't because we just took this out of the refrigerator. We don't take cold meat and put it into a hot pan. We want our meat to come up a little bit in temperature because it'll bring out more flavor. We don't want to put ice cold meat in. It will toughen the meat up. We want the meat to relax a little bit. So what we're going to do is start with our vegetables, and then we'll go from there. All right, so we talked about before, getting our pan nice and hot, feeling our pan being hot, and we're going to put a little bit of oil in. And you see how the oil is moving and dancing? That's what we want to see. We want to see that oil separating. And now we want to bring that oil to just a little bit of a smoke. We just want to see a little bit of smoke coming out as we're going with the oil. All right. And we're going to go ahead and start with our onions. See the smoke coming out? You can see a little bit of the smoke right there. And we're going to add our onions. Love hearing that sizzle. Love hearing that sizzle. And then we're going to add our mushrooms. Okay. And again, you don't want mushrooms, don't put mushrooms. You want extra onions, add extra onions. It's whatever you want. And we're adding our peppers. And then, of course, we want to add our salt and pepper. And you can show off if you want and flip it up in the air or just use the plastic spatula. But again, don't sit there and go stirring. Let it cook. We want to get that caramelization going on our vegetables. We want to see the nice, beautiful color. Again, I wish you had the smell-o-vision. You'd be able to smell it. It's delicious. This is what we want to see. All right? See that beautiful caramelization there on that mushroom right there? That's what we want to see. See the onions getting darker? That's what we want to see. That's flavor right there. So we let that cook for a minute, and then we're going to take this out, hold it off, and we're going to put our meat in the same pan because we're going to take all the flavor from the onions and from the peppers and the mushrooms. They're going to get onto the meat also as we're going. And then we're going to mix everything back together. All right, so beautiful. Going to take our vegetables and keep them over here. But you see, we got a lot of flavor right in there. Really no need to add any more oil because it's already coated and seasoned in there. We just want to get it again nice and hot. It cooled down with the onions and mushrooms. We want to bring the pan back up to temperature, get it hot, so when the meat goes in, It's going to give it a nice sizzle also, and it's going to get a nice char. We're going to see some nice, some beautiful color on there, and that's what we want to see. All right, we see the smoke. And hear that? If you notice also, I'm using a red cutting board. What we like to do is have at least 2 different types of cutting boards. We have a few at the kitchen, but at home you should have at least 2 different cutting boards. One for raw proteins, so meat, chicken, fish, seafood, and one for everything else. If you want to be real safe, you could have 3, and that one could be for raw produce. But definitely you want one to be for raw protein. You don't want to cross-contaminate. So we got our meat cooking right there. We want to get some nice color on it, and then we're going to turn it over. But we don't want to cook it too much. They're in small pieces, so we don't want our meat to be well done. But you see all that beautiful caramelization going on right here? Look at that. That's what we're looking for. But we want to leave it, see like that? See all that caramelization in that color? See that color right there? That's what we're looking for. Okay? So now we're going to turn that over. And we're going to bring our peppers and onions and mushrooms back into the mix. Give it a little bit of moisture. And we're going to add a little bit of Worcestershire sauce to the whole mix. A little bit of flavor there. I like Worcestershire sauce. All right. Is that beautiful or what? We're going to take that, put that back into our bowl. And get ready for our biscuits. All right. All right, now the fun part. So we have our beautiful mix over here. And if you want to make these ahead of time, go ahead, cool this off, and then you can make it ahead of time. So what we're going to do is we have our biscuits. So we made our biscuits, but you can easily get frozen biscuits from the supermarket or something of that nature. They work out just as well. They do need to thaw out, so they're easy to work with. We have some, we're using white cheddar. The recipe has the American, but we're using some white cheddar. Again, we're kicking it up a little bit. We're changing it up a little bit. So we're going to take a little bit of flour and put it on our work table. Okay, we're going to have a little fun here. And we're going to take some of our biscuits and a little flour on both sides of the biscuit. And we're going to put a little bit more flour down on the table. You want to make sure your table is covered with flour because you don't want your biscuits to stick to them. I have a small little rolling pin. I'm going to put a little bit of flour on my rolling pin. And you can do this with your hand also if you don't have a rolling pin, just like this, and pull it out and then spread it like that. I like the rolling pin. Makes it a little bit more even as you're rolling. Okay? It does not need to be a perfect circle. So let's say this one, we didn't have the rolling pin. All we would do is use our hands and separate out a little bit. And just like that. Okay? All right. Now these are biscuits. It's not like it's a puff pastry or some other type of dough where you need to egg wash or water. Biscuits are very easy to work with. So all we're going to do is take some of our meat and our vegetables. Look at that. Put that in there. Beautiful. Now we're going to take some of our cheese. Beautiful. And now all we're doing is folding. And just bringing everything in. Again, you don't need water. You don't need egg wash. Because you're working with biscuit dough. And guess what? If it breaks a little bit, it's not the worst thing in the world. Okay? Because it's going to bake over. Again, because it's not, because it is the biscuit dough, it's more friendly. Push it down a little bit on the bottom, keeping it all together. Push it down, turn it over, and turn. Make it nice and round. Okay? We're going to put it in a 350-degree oven for about 15 to 20 minutes, depending on your oven. All right, depending upon your oven, and we're going to do that. All right, let's try that and see what happens. All right, so we have our biscuits. Beautiful, huh? And what we're going to do, let's go ahead and cut this open. Notice the white cutting board. Ready to eat. Look at that. Beautiful, huh? So great snack, great appetizer, just fun food. Great for the kids, great for a day where Sunday football and you want to put some stuff out. What a great little dish, and very easy. Again, my name is Andrew, Chef Andrew, and thank you to A Better Financial Group. I had a really good time working with you today, and I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. And if you have any questions, let's talk about it.